accelerated iron corrosion in petroleum products, is ready to initiate in August. So a lot of work has gone into both the equipment as well as the sample set, and we're still modifying that, but we're very close to getting it rolling. Also, work item 27950, ILS 542, to develop a precision statement for D7525, test method for oxidation stability of spark ignition fuel, rapid small-scale oxidation test, was held, and a plan to ballot a precision statement in this next term. I do have a couple of significant subcommittee activities. Our subcommittee had planned a workshop for Norfolk on the effect of water on particle counting and automatic particle counters. We have decided to cancel that workshop because the response of papers was insufficient, and instead we're going to have an expanded task force meeting or working group. In its place, I previously have requested and was approved in the exec meeting a symposium/workshop to be scheduled in Norfolk or possibly June 2013. It will be held on Thursday on the subject of oxidation, storage, and thermal stability of ULSD biodiesel and biodiesel blends. We'd also request assistance in ASTM publicizing that. That completes my report, and I move for its acceptance.
We have a motion and a second to accept the report from Sub 14. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Subcommittee 25.
Jim Brown from Subcommittee 25. And before I start, since we have all new officers up there, I'd like to one more time take an opportunity to ask, could we ever consider doing these in inverse order so the 25 doesn't have to go last?
We agree.
We do have one action item for D2, which I'll return to afterwards. And we are requesting permission for one concurrent ballot on work item 24726, guide for generating product quality value through application of a process stream analyzer. This was previously balloted at the subcommittee and changed based on comments received. So we asked to concurrently ballot that. We have no subcommittee officer changes, although we are actively looking for volunteers for a secretary and a second vice chair. Under information items, we did have one D2 ballot item on ballot 1203, item 36. It was a revision to 6624, practice for determining flow proportional average property value using process stream analyzer. That passed ballot. We have no overdue standards or standards being withdrawn, or any subcommittee ballot items that will be coming forward, and nothing else to report under items 4 through 6. So I'd like to move acceptance of the report minus the action item.
We have a motion to accept the report minus the action item. Any discussion?
I wanted to ask why you're 25 and not 15.
Was it 25 before I got here? I don't know.
Okay, any questions? All right, those in favor of accepting the report, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Do the action item.
All right. The action item is, on ballot 1203, item 35, practice for determining the site precision of a process stream analyzer on process stream material. We received one negative from Terry Todd, who is a non-voting member of DO2. Mr. Todd stated that he did not see the need for the practice and was concerned it would increase the cost and time for validating analyzers. He also expressed concerns about the ability to store samples that are used in determining precision, and that the practice was not applicable to analyzers using inline probes. The subcommittee found the negative to be non-persuasive based on the fact that cost of implementing is not a basis for a technical negative. Analyzer site precision is in fact a required input to both D3764 and D6122 analyzer validation practices. And prior to this practice being written, D2 provided no direction on how that number was to be determined for use in these two validation practices. The scope of the practice that was validated indicates that it is not applicable to inline analyzers. And it does contain recommendations on how to store QC samples that are used in determining precision. The subcommittee voted, 5 members voted that the negative was non-persuasive, 0 members voted to find it persuasive, and 6 abstained. I'd like to move that D2 approve the action of the subcommittee.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the actions from Subcommittee 25 on this negative. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a hand count on the vote. Those in favor of supporting the actions of the subcommittee and finding the negative non-persuasive, please raise your hand. Voting members only. Remind everyone, voting members only of D2. All right, proxies in favor of finding the motion non-persuasive or the negative non-persuasive. All right, those opposed to supporting the actions of the subcommittee, in other words, if you support the negative voter, raise your hand. Any proxies? Voting members abstaining. Proxies abstaining. Would you call out the numbers, Mr. Secretary?
Those in favor of upholding the subcommittee at 49, 0 against, 10 abstaining. The committee votes to uphold the subcommittee.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the current report. So we're going to come back now to Subcommittee J and pick up on the pending action items.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for the confusion. On D ballot 03-12, item 9, revision of D7566-11A, specification for aviation turbine fuels containing synthetic components, work item 434934, and the ballot was to insert IP methods and references into the specification. We received a negative from Tayo Han, who is a DO2 non-member, non-voting member, and he is with the ENN Science and Technology Development Company in Chengdu, China. And the text of his negative was, we should evaluate the essentiality to add IP test methods in the standard. After all, we have many standards in the world. Subcommittee J moved to find this negative non-persuasive because the subcommittee found that the United Kingdom Ministry of Defense DEFSTAN 9191 fuel specification, which is for Jet A1, relies on D7566 as a source document which warrants supporting the users of D90 or DS9191 with appropriate standards, which are the IP standards. The vote was 48 to uphold the non-persuasive negative, 0 against, and 0 abstain. And I would request that the D committee uphold our action.
Okay, we have a motion to uphold the action of Subcommittee J and find the negative non-persuasive. Okay, those in favor of, oh, yes, right, discussion, thank you. Discussion, please.
Hearing.
Okay, hearing none. Those in favor of supporting the subcommittee and finding the negative non-persuasive, please raise your hand. Okay, proxies in favor. Okay, those opposed to supporting the actions of Subcommittee J, raise your hand. Proxies opposed. Abstentions and proxy abstentions. Mr. Secretary, would you read the results, please?
The voting is 51 in favor, 0 against, 2 abstaining. The proposal, D2, accepts the subcommittee's choice, yes.
Okay, Stan, that concludes your action items, correct? Very good, thank you. All right, we will now pick up with the action items from sub 6.
Sub 6 had 3 negatives on the new method to measure acidity in ethanol. And the item was 68, D2 ballot item 68, new ethanol acidity, and the work item was 24458. We received 3 negatives and 2 comments. David has the negatives up, and I will read at the same time, and in red it is shown our response and the reasons for awarding the negative non-persuasive. The first voter, Sergio A. Fontes from Petrobras, Brazil. First, we replied to his negative, and we tried to correct him, and we were unsuccessful. The reasons for my negative vote rely on the absence of research report. ASTM research report clarified these points.
I'll meet you at that little
The
fort.
research report was not completed, but all the
Well, we
data
were
from our
earlier.
studies was provided, and the user did not respond. Second point, purging
Yeah, I
the
guess
sample with
we're fine.
nitrogen after the weight of the sample and during the duration can change sample weight, and it will influence test results. The
Thanks.
research report surely would clarify this point, but this information was not available now. Our response